ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। Welcome back. We are about to enter the scene where Sri Rama and Ravana, whose fight has just begun, and we're going to hear about how it is going to escalate from here on, how it develops. And it won't happen in one session. Obviously, it'll take multiple sessions because, as I mentioned last time, this chapter is a long one. And we'll try and revisit a few verses from previous that we left off, just as a refresher. So Ravana had begun to fight with Sri Ramachandra, but Ramachandra had neutralized that weapon of Ravana, and all the Vanaras on the battlefield began to celebrate and rejoice that our Sri Ramachandra has been able to counteract the weapon of Ravana. Now, when Ravana's weapon got counteracted, Ravana's anger doubled. Tasmin pratihate astre tu Ravano rakshasadhipah krodham cha dvigunam chakre. His anger doubled. Krodhat cha astra manantaram. After this arrow got counteracted, his anger became so doubled. And so he drew an arrow. Mayena vihitam raudram. Anyadastram. He removed another arrow that was gifted to him by his father-in-law, Maya. It was created by Maya also. And it is called the Raudra Astram, that is invoked by the anger of Lord Shiva, Rudra. Mahatyutihi. This Ravana, who himself was so powerful, but this arrow, because it is empowered by Lord Shiva, Rudra, Mahatyutihi, had a great splendor in it. Utsushtam Ravano Bhimaha Raghavaya Prachakrame. He mounted that arrow on his bow and released it on Sri Ramachandra. Imagine Raudrastra. Now, when this arrow was released, this arrow, if you've seen videos of how one missile that is let into the sky breaks into multiple smaller bombs and explosives, and falls in different places to cause a lot of damage. Like this Raudrastra started releasing flaming pikes, maces, clubs, mallets, deceptive nooses, thunderbolts of various kinds, like piercing gales of wind at the end of destruction. At the end of, I should say, end of destruction, end of creation. That's when destruction begins. And this frightening weapon as it came, Sri Ramachandra, who himself was so expert in the use of weapons, without any flinching, neutralized that excellent Raudrastra with his own Gandharva Astra. It was empowered by the Gandharva. These are celestial musicians and they have their own powerful weapons. So the Gandharva Astra completely neutralized Ravana's Raudrastra. Now, when this happened, Ravana's eyes became even more fiery, reddish, coppery color. So Ravana became upset and this time mounted an arrow that was presided over by the sun god, Surya. Now, when the Surya Astra was mounted and released by Ravana, like the previous one, this arrow came with great force. It was so brilliant that the whole sky lit up, and from a lot of large chakras, discuses were issued forth. That means anybody who's on the path would be completely cut off. This 10-headed monster of very terrific power released such an arrow, Suryastra. Now, as this arrow rose up into the sky, like I said, the entire sky and all four directions was lit up as if the sun, the moon, and all the stars became visible at the same time, and all of the planets. Sri Ramachandra, he himself, very powerful, split all of those chakras that were coming from this arrow that Ravana has released, using his own very powerful weapons. And Ravana's army, who thought, this will be the end of Rama, Lakshmana, and all the Vanaras, suddenly was taken by surprise of how Ramachandra, whose expertise in archery and Astra and Shastra, Shastra is the physical arrow, Astra is the subtle mantra that empowers that arrow. Now, one more missile was frustrated of Ravana's. This time, Ravana became angry and struck Sri Ramachandra in all of his vital parts, which means the lungs, the heart, the stomach. There are these vital parts and organs in the body. So Ravana released 10 arrows simultaneously and hit Ramachandra on all of his vital parts. And Ramachandra became grievously hurt. Grievously hurt because obviously he's bleeding like anything. Sri Ramachandra, who himself is full of extraordinary energy, did not flinch, although his body is being pierced by these 10 arrows. Mahateja na prakampat Raghavaha. Prakampat did not flinch even a little bit. Now, obviously, this is a war. This is Kshatriya spirit in its full display. Ramachandra became very enraged. ततो विव्याध गात्रेषु सर्वेषु समतिञ्जयः राघवस्तु सुसंक्रुद्धो. Kruddha is angry. Samkruddha, fully angry. And Su means extremely angry. Ravanam Bahubheshwara. Then Ramachandra released multiple arrows and which pierced all of Ravana's limbs. Now, when this fighting is going on, you remember, if ever anyone attacks Sri Ramachandra, and this seems like there is physical harm about to happen to Sri Rama, one hero who always steps in is Lakshmana. When Lakshmana saw Ramachandra struck with 10 arrows in all of his vital parts and he's bleeding, although Rama is not flinching at all, Lakshmana became very provoked to anger. This is one characteristic of Lakshmana. One may insult Lakshmana how much ever, he doesn't even acknowledge it the least. That, oh, why is he insulting me? Nothing like that. But even the hint that someone's going to insult or attack Sri Ramachandra, then Lakshmana becomes fiery. He's easily provoked to anger only on the case of Sri Rama. Of course, Sita Devi as well. So Lakshmana, this younger brother of Sri Rama, entered the scene, standing right there, released 7 arrows. Now, the Lakshmana's arrows were so strong, speedy, and full of momentum that they hit Ravana. And in such a way that, first of all, before attacking Ravana, these arrows went and broke the flagstaff of Ravana's chariot and broke it into multiple pieces. Now, then a single arrow, he picked up another arrow, and that itself was also very, very strong. Jalita Kundalam Shiro Bane. He hit the arrow in such a way that the charioteer's head got cut off. That head was decorated with earrings and it rolled on the ground. Saratishchapi Banena Shiro Jalitam Kundalam. Jalita Kundalam. Jahara Lakshmanaha Shriman Naitrascha Mahabalaha. This Rakshasa's chariot driver, his head was cut off by Lakshmana's single arrow. Then Lakshmana picked up 5 other arrows and shot it in the direction of Ravana. And by that 5 arrows coming with such speed, and Ravana himself is a very great archer and a great fighter and warrior. But Lakshmana's arrows are so strong, fast, swift, and the way, the skill with which he releases those arrows, Ravana's bow that was being held by Ravana's bow, which was held by him, completely fell into pieces. Now Ravana is standing there and suddenly struck with wonder. At the same moment, Vibhishana released arrows from his side, and the gada, the mace that Ravana was holding, was also broken. And Vibhishana released his own gada that completely shattered all the horses of Ravana's chariot. And each horse seemed mighty, dark like a cloud, tall, very powerful. Vibhishana killed all the horses. So, chariot driver is killed. The staff or the flagstaff of the chariot is completely broken down. Ravana's bow has been split. The horses have been killed. So Ravana jumped down from the chariot. And he looked at his brother, Vibhishana, and so much anger and rage arose in Ravana. The anger and rage is not just because Vibhishana killed the horses. This anger and rage is being pent up from a long time because Vibhishana had given him good advice. And Ravana did not like the advice because the advice again and again. Sadhu niryatam iti punah punaha. Vibhishana says to Ramachandra, I told good counsel, gave good counsel to my brother, not once or twice, but again and again and again. When Vibhishana is trying to convince Sugriva why he should recommend Vibhishana to Sri Rama. And Ravana did not like it. So Vibhishana says to Sugriva and Sri Rama that I was insulted and I was treated like a servant. Dasavat cha avamanitam. So I have come to you. So this rage of Ravana that this is the fellow who gave me bad advice, left me for this enemy. Gee, what kind of a brother? He's not a brother, he's an enemy. Then Ravana picked up a spear or a javelin, as they say, and with all of his anger, released it on Vibhishana. And suddenly that javelin looked like or had the strength of a thunderbolt on it. As the javelin is speedily rushing towards Vibhishana, Lakshmana, who's an expert, picked up 3 arrows and released it on that javelin and broke that javelin into multiple pieces. And suddenly from the Vanara side, there was a loud cheer. "Hey!" Because they're seeing their hero frustrate Ravana. So then this javelin was split into multiple parts, which itself was made of gold. What to do? It fell like a meteor would fall on the earth after it enters the earth's atmosphere and splits up into pieces. Now Ravana, he became angry. How is it that I'm being frustrated in my Oh, I have won so many battles. These are, after all, human beings. Became so angry, picked up another javelin. And this javelin was very, very famous for never being defeated. It was called the Shakti. Shakti. And it was shining out of its own splendor. Tataha Sambhavita Taram Kalena api Durasadam. Kalena api Durasadam. It was more formidable than time that destroys everything. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Kalosmi. I am time and I destroy everything. This arrow was more powerful than the influence of time. Jagraha Vipulam Shaktim. He carried or lifted this Vipula, mighty, big javelin called Shakti. Deepyamana Swadejasa, and it had its own splendor, and it was glowing like anything. Sa Vegita Balavata Ravanena Duratmana Jajwala Sumahateja Deepta Shani Samaprabha. This javelin, that evil-minded Ravana. So Valmiki is telling us that Ravana has an evil mind because he's now going to attack Lakshmana. So any attack on Guru Tattva is evil-mindedness. And he took up the Shakti weapon and released it upon Lakshmana. Now, as he's releasing this, I'm sorry, he's releasing it on Vibhishana, Duratmana, because it's his own brother. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So as he's releasing it on Vibhishana, Etasmin Anantare Viro, Lakshmanastam Vibhishanam, Prana Samshayapannam, Turdam Abhyavat Patyata. So when Lakshmana saw this, Lakshmana came immediately to the rescue of Vibhishana. Then I think I'm too excited about the whole story. So I'll make a slight modification. Ravana has not released this javelin yet. The Shakti was picked up and it was being aimed at Vibhishana. Lakshmana saw that and intervened to support and protect Vibhishana. And as Ravana is carrying this javelin, Lakshmana stretched his bow in order to save Vibhishana and threw a volley of arrows at Ravana, who was standing with his javelin in his hand. And Ravana, being covered by all these arrows that Lakshmana had released, Ravana just decided not to throw it upon Vibhishana. Although his face turned towards Vibhishana, looking at his younger brother, who was rescued by Lakshmana, Ravana now speaks to Lakshmana. What happened is, see, Vibhishana had come to take shelter of Rama and Lakshmana. And he said, Taktva dhyaramscha putramscha raghavam sharanam gataha. I have left everything and I've come to take the shelter of Ramachandra. And previously we know that it was Rama Lakshmana, where Rama and Lakshmana were together. So Vibhishana is surrendering to both Guru and Sri Rama at the same time. That's the right way to do it. So when Ramachandra says, even if once someone says, I am your Sri Rama, I promise that they will be released of any fear. So now Lakshmana has come, has intervened to protect Vibhishana from his own evil-minded brother, Ravana. So Ravana turned to Lakshmana and said, Mokshitaste balashlaghinaha yasmad evam vibhishanaha vimucha rakshasam shaktis tvayaiva vinipatyate. Oh, Vibhishana has been rescued by you. Then take care, Lakshmana. I am releasing this Shakti javelin upon you. And this javelin, because it is so strong, Shakti, it is invincible. It will pierce your heart as soon as I let go of it. And this will pierce your heart, go out of your body. It will be smeared with your blood. Only after you have been killed will it come back to me. Saying so, Ravana picked up the Shakti, aimed it on Lakshmana, and the javelin had bells on it, 8 bells. So as he's releasing it, it's making this clamorous noise as it is flying towards him. And the Shakti weapon was designed by Maya. Remember, the Rudra weapon also was designed by Maya. And this Shakti weapon has a certain mystical power to it and was capable of destroying any enemy standing in front of it. Shining, blazing. Plus Ravana, who's extremely enraged, hurled it on Lakshmana and roared loudly that finally I would have killed Lakshmana the first. And then if I kill Lakshmana, then Rama is very easy to kill. This javelin had the crackling noise of a thunderbolt and flew with all force towards Lakshmana, who was standing on the battlefield right there, protecting Vibhishana. When Ramachandra saw this Shakti weapon following, very fiercely moving towards Lakshmana, Ramachandra said, "Oh, Lakshmana, may you be all right. May this weapon not hurt you in any way, and may any attempt to kill Lakshmana be frustrated." Now, this Shakti weapon was as venomous, as powerful or deadly like the sting of a venomous serpent. Very quickly struck Lakshmana at such speed right in the chest. Although Lakshmana is standing fearless, it's not like he's not fighting back. He's also, but it came with such speed. So we have to imagine Lakshmana himself was so skillful and fast and adroit that when Ravana released a spear towards Vibhishana, he could strike it and cut it into 3 pieces. So this Shakti, that's the Dhwani in the verses, that is so fast that even before Lakshmana could respond, it pierced right into his chest. And Valmiki says, with great violence and flaming like the tongue of Vasuki, the lord of the serpents, the javelin full of extraordinary strength and splendor descended on the broad chest of Lakshmana. and pierced grievously by the javelin, and it's also being sent by the power of Ravana's arms, Lakshmana fell on the ground, unconscious, perhaps even dead, because people don't know the Shakti weapon is very powerful. As soon as Ramachandra saw Lakshmana just fallen to the ground, Ramachandra on the battlefield became very despondent. Tadavastham samipastho. Lakshmana was not far from Ramachandra. Lakshmanam preksha Raghava. When Ramachandra saw Lakshmana, Bhratru Snehat Mahateja. Although Rama is Mahateja, Bhratru Snehat, out of love and affection for his brother, Vishanna Hridayo Abhavat. His heart became completely affected or afflicted by agony. Vishanna. Although Ramachandra is very courageous. And as he's seeing Lakshmana's condition, Ramachandra's eyes are brimming with tears. And Rama became even more angry. And this anger is compared to the heat of the fire at the end of the world cycle. When the world is about to be finished, first it becomes very, very hot. So everything dries up. So it's easy to burn. And then the cosmic fire burns everything to ashes. And then the cosmic tidal waves, the Samvartakas, come and wipe everything out. So Muhurtam iva dhyatva, in great contemplation for a moment, Bhashpa Paryakulekshana, his eyes brimming with tears, Babhuva Samrabdhataro Yuganta iva pavaka. Samrabdha, excuse me, afflicted by anger that is similar to the fire at the end of destruction or end of the world situation. Now, at this time, Ramachandra checks himself that, I cannot become so disconsolate with my own love for Lakshmana, because I am standing in the middle of a battlefield and I have to continue fighting. So Ramachandra gathered himself again and with great determination resolved to destroy Ravana. Then Ramachandra, looking at Lakshmana, the javelin pierced in his chest, bathed in blood, and was resembling a mountain that had a snake, that as if the mountain had a snake penetrating the center of it, because Lakshmana himself is very tall, strong, broad-chested. At this time, all the great Vanaras, Sugriva, Angada, etc., including Hanuman, because there's the jewels among monkeys, rushed towards Lakshmana to pull the javelin out of his chest. So the javelin had gone through Lakshmana's chest and entered into the ground. So Lakshmana was pinned to the ground. So they came to pull the javelin out, but it came with such strength and speed and mightiness that Ravana had released with, that they were not able to pull it out. So Lakshmana is still pinned into the ground with the javelin right through his heart. Then Ramachandra walked up and with his own arms pulled the javelin out. So what we get to hear and see is Ramachandra's strength, Mahabhahu. What Sugriva, Hanuman, Angada, Jambavan, Sharava, Mainda, Dvivida could not pull out, Ramachandra with his bare hands pulled out. Now, while Ramachandra is pulling this javelin out of Lakshmana's chest, Ravana has been shooting multiple arrows again on Ramachandra's vital parts. Ravana is not standing there. Now he's upping the ante, as they say. And while Ramachandra is being hit with all these arrows, Ramachandra doesn't mind at all because he's more interested in caring for Lakshmana and he's embracing Lakshmana while he's being pierced very, very badly. At this time, as the arrows are hitting Rama, Ramachandra speaks to Hanuman and Sugriva. He says, all of you surround Lakshmana and protect him. As far as I'm concerned, I will take care of this 10-headed monster. I've made it my resolve to finish him. His death is written in my hands. And so saying this, Ramachandra makes a promise. Asmin muhurte nachirat, very soon. Satyam pratishunomi vaha. All of you listen very carefully the promise that I'm making. Aravanam aramam va jagat drakshatha vanaraha. Oh, mighty vanaras, I promise you this, very soon the world will see that either there is no Ravana or there is no Rama. It has to be one or the other. Aravanam, aramam va, this or that. Jagat drakshatha, the whole world will see it. Oh, Vanaras, I make you this promise. How dare he attack Lakshmana? You know, I lost my kingdom in Ayodhya. It didn't bother me. I was exiled to the forest for 14 years. That did not bother me. I lived all sorts of difficulties, austerities, fighting with demons, animals, wild animals, the danger of the forest in Dandaka. That did not bother me. And this Ravana insulted me by taking Sita away. So I have suffered greatly. My body has suffered, my mind has suffered. It feels like I was going through hell. And this is it. I am going to finish Ravana and bring an end to this entire episode. This Ravana will not live. And it is because of this Ravana that I had to drag Sugriva's entire army out of Kishkinda and everywhere after killing Vali, crossed an ocean by building a bridge over it, and now I can see Ravana right in front of me. And now that I can see him, he will not live any longer. I make you this promise. Ravana cannot survive anymore, especially when he has come into my range of glance. Just like when a cobra sees a person within the range of their poison, then if there is a venomous snake and like a cobra, but Garuda can see, then that serpent has no chance of surviving, although he's very venomous. Okay, actually, they say that a cobra's poison, when it opens its mouth like that, the poison is ejaculated up to 10 feet. It is that strong. But when Garuda is there, even that powerful venomous serpent has no chance. Wherever you are standing, oh Vanaras, you will witness, you yourself are all very powerful. You will witness the strength that Ravana and I exchange between each other. You will witness today that you might have never witnessed in your life. Let all the three worlds, the earth, the heavens, and everything in between, the Gandharvas, the Rishis, the Charanas, everybody today will see what Ramatvam, what Ramachandra, or Ramatvam means Ramahood, if you will, what that will look like. I will say the Samskrita is fantastic. Adya Pashyantu Ramasya Ramatvam. Adya, right now. Pashyantu. May you all see Ramasya Ramatvam. What the tattva of Rama is. Mama Samyuge in this fight. Trayo lokaha sa gandharvaha. All the three worlds with the Gandharvas, Sadevaha, with all the demigods, Sar Charanaha, Sir Rishi Charanaha, and all the sages and the Charanas. You will see. Today I will accomplish that feat that in the whole universe people have never seen. The gods, every resident of the universe shall see. As long as the earth is able to support living beings on it, my glory will continue. Samagamasya sada loke yatha yuddham pravartitam. And people, as long as the earth exists, will talk about my fight with Ravana. Such is my power and anger towards this Ravana at this point. So Ramachandra, after making this declaration, turned around and started walking towards Ravana with arrows that were embellished with gold and started shooting arrows on Ravana. We're going to stop there because I have something else this week. I can't go further. We're going to stop here. It was important to hear Ramachandra's promise and his Kshatriya power, his Ramatvam fully displayed. And now they will fight. And this fight will continue. Actually, you know what? Let's finish the chapter. It's only a few more verses about it. Okay. Now, as Ramachandra is releasing all these golden arrows upon Ravana, Ravana himself is not going to sit quiet. He's also covering Ramachandra with many, many arrows. And the description is that as many arrows were released, as many drops of rainfall a cloud releases. And from all quarters, the Rakshasas and the Vanaras, they were loudly shouting. There was a din. There's a sound when the war is going on. That everybody, on the one hand, is seeing Ramachandra shoot arrows, on the other hand, Ravana shooting back, and they're fighting with each other. And whatever arrows are being shot, they're being split. Ramachandra's arrows are being split by Ravana. Ravana's arrows are being split by Ramachandra, and the entire earth and the airspace has been filled with fragments of arrows and arrows flying here and there. And each time the Ramachandra's arrow releases, Ramachandra's bow releases an arrow, the twang of that bowstring on both sides, both heroes, Rama and Ravana, was so loud that it struck terror in the hearts of all living beings on the planet. The war is happening in Lanka, but the entire world was shook with fear and is astonished at what is the sound. And all over the battlefield, it was covered with shafts, hails, pat, pat, one after the other, arrows falling everywhere. And Ramachandra holding in his hand a flaming bow, closing in on Ravana. And at that time, Ravana, perhaps Pradudrava, got a little scared and turned around and was about to leave the battlefield. This is the power of Ramachandra. And he is moving towards Ravana, Bhayat Pratrudrava Samayetya Ravano Yatha Anilona Bhitato Bahalakaha, and turned around and left just like a cloud moves away by the force of wind. And this is where chapter 100 ends. Ravana is retreating from the battlefield. So now that Ravana is gone away, Ramachandra will turn towards Lakshmana to take care of his brother. And that's where we're going to stop. Thank you very much for being here. I don't think I have the time today for any reflections. If you have, please send them on the WhatsApp group. Some of you send individually to me. I thank you for doing so, but I appreciate that if you will send it on the WhatsApp group so others can also relish the sweetness of your reflections. So please don't send it to me individually. Send it on the group. If you have something, I'd happy to receive. Otherwise, we will meet next time and now see what happens to Lakshmana. How to revive him back, how to bring him back to life becomes the main concern. Until then, thank you very much. Jai Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ji ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai.